on a fantastic Monday. I was getting ready to say Monday. See, the teddy bear is lost. I'm used to doing shows in the evening, but it's all right. We're going to adapt on a magnificent Friday morning. How's everyone doing? It's the teddy bear, and welcome to Night Traxx Podcast. And my God, it's the return of the dynamic duo. And I'm going to talk about Batman and Robin. I'm talking about the Callaways. Vincent and Reggie are here joining us today. New hit single, Six Pack. We're trying to get us sexy back on. It's a beautiful thing. And welcome to the broadcast, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Teddy Bear, what's going on?
Oh,
Man?
man.
Good.
Oh, man. Everything is beautiful, man. We got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, congratulations on the new single. And also, I got to ask you, who came up with the concept of the video? I just seen the video recently. I mean, the video and the cinematography overall is fantastic. The vines that you brothers are wearing are definitely savoir faire. So tell me, please enlighten me and also enlighten the audience as far as the concept of the video.
Oh man, it's always a joint effort, but in coming up with the way to flip it, you know, when we think about six pack, the first thing that comes into somebody's mind is your abs, right?
Right.
But if we work on that song more and more, we realize that, you know, health is your wealth entirely, and it's a full perspective of the mental, physical, the social, the emotional, the financial, you know, that's five, and the spiritual. So how do we portray that in a way that's fun, that gives people a story? You know, going back to the old days with movies and videos with videos.
Right.
You know, it was not just everybody just get around the microphone and just do your thing. So the idea is that this small country in Africa, very powerful, very rich, very wealthy in spirit and soul, but their principles are represented by six black diamonds, and these they hold cherish and hold tight as it represents the pillars of the society, and they get stolen by the dark princess who wants that power, who wants that control. So the queen is totally upset. The country is in a terror, and they need to get it back in balance. But the only one who can get it back is the Calloway brothers. So they call on us. And, you watch the video, we'll tell you more of the inside stories of the martial arts fights, the temples, and the minions. It's a lot of fun.
It is. I mean, the video is fantastic, man. And as I said, I want to congratulate you on making something with substance and has a message, because I know a lot in today's music has changed dramatically. And I know, Reggie, I know you've always been a lightning rod with substance, having meaning behind music. You've been doing this for over 45 years. So you have a clear understanding. Both of you have a clear understanding on what it means to bring musicianship to the table. Did I just say that? That's sorely missing in today's music. And the ability to be creative and songwriting. And I want to joke with Vincent real quick, because I said, brother, when I look at you, I remember we both had long hair to our show. One time, man, I'm like, time moves by so quick. And as far as the health aspect of this, it's true. It's like when you're young, you really don't think about it. You do your thing, you have your fun, you're not caring about anything. But then as time goes by, you turn from 24 to in your 60s and then almost to your 70s. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm getting out the bed. Things are snap, crackling, and popping.
Tell me about it. I say it's a full-time job trying to stay healthy, you know, trying to get proper rest. All the things that I'm guilty of, that you're trying to multitask, trying to eat, you know, halfway decent, trying to minimize the stress, you know. And I think that's the part Reggie's talking about with Six Pack. You know, we can take each one of those and break it down to six or more, you know, just in health and fitness, you know, which has been a lot of my life, you know, teaching martial arts, studying martial arts from some great masters of the world, and you know, pass on a lot of, I inherit a lot of, you know, great knowledge, information from them. But also, it's, you know, your own self discovery because, you know, everybody's a little different. So you got to find out what works for you. But I've been blessed to have some, you know, great students that, you know, trust me, you know, to help them kind of discover for themselves things that work for them. Um, yeah, but that's, you know, we think of six pack, just, we think of, like Reggie said, we think of our abs, you know, our core.
Right.
I think core is probably a better word, you know, but it puts you in the mind of, oh man, I can, you know, if I don't have a six pack, I know I may be a little off from my 20s, and you know, and the challenge that it takes to get back there, it takes a lot of discipline, like I say, just to stay healthy in general. You know, the cosmetic aspect of
Right.
it, you know, could deal with the ego, but um, yeah, the spiritual side, you know, how can we keep the spiritual, you know, going? You know, the social, financial, you know, all those things have a place.
Right. Definitely. I definitely concur. And I want to touch on something that you just said that I found very enlightening. When you talk about as far as martial arts, one thing about martial arts, it always incorporated self discipline. How do
Mm.
you incorporate that as far as music is concerned? Because it does take a certain amount of discipline to create something that you know that's going to mean something not only to you, but is also going to send out a positive, uplifting message, especially with this new single, Six Pack.
I think, well, there's patience and there's gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be thankful, you know, for all the things that you've been blessed to, you know, whether it's knowledge, whether it's talent and skills. You know, I think the martial arts gave us, because, you know, we both, you know, martial artists, but it gave us a discipline to stay on the path. You know, you may not be on 100%. You know, we're trying to find a balance. You know, so you have the martial arts, then you have the healing arts. You know, and the discipline of the arts. You know, so you know, you got to get up and, you know, get the body moving. You know, you got to get up and uh, you know, put in the time to work on your instrument. You know, we are musicians. Started off as musicians, and well, we just kept that desire. Said, man, what playing the trumpet with both, you know, backgrounds, trumpet, you know, Reggie's flute, and I play a little bit of everything else. But to, you know, try to pick up that instrument and say, okay, I need to try to maintain this sound because that's what gratitude is. That's what got us here.
You're right.
You know, the horns,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Mm,
the horn section got us
well put.
to a certain point, and the horn section wrote Freakazoid. So,
How is it different from working with a group and then just working with collectively a duo from the financial aspect and also dealing with multiple egos, so to speak, and a sense of entitlement when we see that a lot of times destroy groups? How have you two managed to maintain a level of balance and seeing the overall bigger picture?
Yeah, it's definitely both sides of that are really super great. You know, it's say no man is an island, and
Right.
no one can truly do it all themselves. Even even if like they can play every instrument, they're still not doing it all themselves because the team, the people who you're around, who inspire you, they can bring you up or they can bring you down. When they bring you up, it's an amazing thing. You know, if you don't have you have a record label inside that label, whether it's independent or large, there's a whole team that's helping out. You know, and with the group, especially with Midnight Star, such talented people. You know, what it takes to make that work is leadership. You know, without a leader, a group can definitely flounder, or can you know, have a hodgepodge of great ideas, but the iPhone, you know, they don't have because it's got the wires and the screws and the chips and everything else. But somebody's got to put it all together and have that vision. and then being able to coordinate that. So I've been blessed to be, a leader, my entire life. So it's even from junior high school president to student council and senior class president and on and on and on, and try to do things that utilize that. Quincy Jones made it very, very clear, which turned our careers around in a long conversation we had with him at his concert in Indianapolis backstage. He spoke to me for 30 minutes to an hour, one-on-one, and broke that down in terms of, we look at democracy, everybody having a vote, but in music, in order for it to be cohesive, you want to take all the best ideas and bring it together, but you can't try to use a little piece of this and this word here from that person and this hook there from that person and this choreography step that way. It's got, the Quincy says, so there's no democracy in music. We want to hear the great ideas and bring the team together. And who was the best team builder than Quincy? That guy, he knows how to find them. So that led to parking on the dance floor, making that a cohesive project. We had finally arrived to develop, who we were and a sound. Then once Vincent and I broke away to do other duo projects and production projects, it was really easy for us, being brothers, and great respect to Vincent, who allows me the space, and I allow him the space to contribute and do things together. And for us, it's really easy. If we both like it, it's a good chance it's going forward. If one of us doesn't like it, and it comes down to a conversation, and we work it out. And and if I have to say, well, let's go this. Sometimes I say, let's do it this way. Sometimes I say, let's do it your way. Let's just go with it. And we those kind of decisions, they're 50-50. We reap the reward of not being hurt by our decisions, but just growing. So
right.
Make it easy. I think it's taking your ego and putting it off to the side. That's another Quincy thing. Leave the ego at the door, whether it's 9 people or 2 people, or whether it's 1 person, because your greatest ideas come from outside of you. I mean, Vincent mentioned Freakazoid. The greatest idea of Freakazoid came from listening to some of my fraternity brothers' conversations that was delivered to me that said, "Oh wow, this I didn't just think of this. This was delivered. We better follow this path. Let's go write this song right now."
Right. I wanted to ask both of you the direction where the music industry and also radio has taken a major turn, because I remember, for me personally, growing up in South Central Los Angeles, it was nothing for me to either hear Midnight Star or you as a duo making music where it would come over the airways, like K-Day or what's the K-Day, and also KJLH. It was, you had an opportunity where your music was being heard. And now it seems the game has changed now, where you have a lot of wonderful artists that put out great music, and their music is not getting the necessary airplay on today's modern radio. But it's amazing how when you go over to London, they have a love affair with our music. They appreciate, and more importantly, they respect our music. Where do you see the music going now as far as airplay is concerned, as far as getting the necessary airplay?
Oh, Reggie, I guess you can.
I spent a lot of time yesterday listening. Yeah, I was gonna say I spent a lot of time yesterday listening to the radio, regular radio,
Mm-hmm.
and we're definitely in a market where radio's become very. It's kind of always been that way, in terms of, they want to play the 10, 15, 20 hits, and I understand that, because there's only so much time to get the commercials in and all that stuff. So you see the same songs over and over, or the style of music has to be very pinpointed for the audience that they're trying to reach. So the difficult part about, the classic artists is, where do we go? You have the oldie stations that are playing the old hits, but if a classic artist wants to make a new hit, where do they go? And fortunately, we look at the internet, and everybody has mixed opinions. But the good part about it is that it allows you to have your music exposed around the world.
Right.
But what we miss out on is the marketing and promotion of that. You can't just make it, and put it up there, because now you're dealing with billions of people, as opposed to hundreds of thousands and millions of people. So
Yeah.
we really have to make an effort to get music heard and to do it ourselves. Build our own teams. And it was similar that way in the old days. When Berry Gordy decided, I don't want to be an artist anymore. I'm not really going to be a songwriter too much anymore. I'm going to build this record label. So we need more Berry Gordys that'll get out there and sacrifice and bring the artists together. But we also need more artists to be independent, to say, hey, I'm going to put my own thing together. I'm going to do this, and whether it's favors or friends or sponsors or the great fans. We have these great fans that now we can try to tie into them one-on-one, rather than just playing it on the radio and 10,000 people hear it. Now we can reach 10,000 people with an email or a text, and we have to do that because we really appreciate you fans. You keep our world going, and without you, we cease to exist. But we're so glad that we have a way to reach you now. So that's what me and Vincent are trying to do, is really reach out. People always say, well, where's this group? Well, haven't they made a new record? Where's the Calloway brothers?
Right.
It's our responsibility to you to do that, to bring you music, and we want to continue to live up to that. And we've made a lot of music over the years that you haven't heard us, and our mission has always been, especially at this time, is to be positive. We did songs about the political aspects out there, which is on Jay King's radio show called Politics. When Houston got flooded, we did a song about that.
Okay.
When the big fires and the pandemic were in India, we wrote a song about that. We haven't put it out yet on that one. But it's things that about the music and the message, and not always just that, I got the #1 hit record on the radio, because that's very political and it's very team oriented. But we have to fight, and we have to be not afraid to put ourselves out there, because a record can cost a lot of money to make. In today's market, it doesn't have to cost as much, but you still have to be tied in to your team, and then and finishing it. Because
right.
everybody has a great idea, but the night you sit there and say it is finished, it's out. When the video came out, we were like, that phase is finished. Now we got to buckle down, and we got to promote this thing, and we got to get people healthy, and going to the doctors and taking care of their finances, and doing all these things that as we leave this legacy of music, it's a full message.
Absolutely. And that's why I said, when I had an opportunity to watch the video several times, I was like, wow. What really fascinated me, as I said before, the cinematography of the video, the concept of the video was great. And again, you brothers both were on your vines, looking really fantabulous, man.
Thank you.
You guys really. And I wanted to ask you, do you think the concept of making albums, do you think that's something that's in the past and we're just relegated to do, I say sometimes EPs, or just putting more focus on just releasing individual tracks?
Oh, personally, I still like to see albums. I mean, if you think about some of your favorite artists, and what kind of music they put out, you can go from Stevie Wonder to, you don't have to go too much further than that, but there's some of the albums they had, just the concepts, that's just something that's I would always miss personally. But you just think the way the business and the market is now, it's kind of like, you know, you're blessed if you can get one song out there and and get it heard and get some movement. But
Right.
um, I
Yeah, but
think,
if you go back, go ahead, Vincent.
oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just jumping there and just say, back in the day, it was all about the single.
Right.
So we think it was all about the album, but before that, the early
Hmm.
rock eras, the Motown days, you had that single. You actually had a single, physical single, and you had
Hmm.
a spindle that you stuck in the middle of it, and you played on on your little record player. And if you were lucky, you had the one that you could stack 3 or 4 records on, and they would automatically drop down one at a time.
Or you flip that one over.
Yeah, you had a B
Yeah,
side, yeah, you had the A side and B side. So there was 2 songs. We
yeah,
got to get back to the A side and B side.
yeah.
But
I
what,
think
what
one
we
of the
really didn't go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say just one of the comments that I still hear today about just like the No Parking on the Dance Floor album. Uh, for Midnight Star is that, every song was, you know, so-called a hit, even though some would never released, but it still fueled the album and got a lot of movement. Uh, but it took a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of study, you know, uh, not just picking random songs, but trying to find, and then you try to think about the sequence of the album. What song's going to go first. I mean, we could spend days, months, sometimes, trying to figure out, hey, which song go first. I can remember sitting down, uh, with our mom, and she was brilliant at, just had a natural feel of, oh yeah, this will go here, this will go good here, and so yeah, it's a process, but to be able to put on the album and just sit back and groove to it, because that's part of the your journey, your life. What's the word I'm looking for?
Right.
uh, you know,
Yes, indeed.
everybody said uh, the story of your life. What the soundtrack is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You
I
know,
understand.
everybody has a soundtrack. You say, "Oh man, what song?" I can remember hearing this song when I was, in high school or junior high school. I was going down the street and ran into a buddy of mine. And this song came on, and you know.
A
So
soundtrack. Yeah.
The
yeah,
soundtrack, and I think that is sorely missing, as you stated, Vincent. I mean, it was something special, man, when you got in the studio and you had to go through a creative process of creating an album, not just one song, but an entire concept, a vision. And then
hmm
after it was finished, you had so many people out there when there were quote unquote record stores, which I sorely miss, where you would sit up and actually go to a record store and buy the album, see the album cover, read the liner notes, lyrics, everything. In the entire album, you can sit up and put on that stereo in your home, which we had that floor model stereo
hmm
that we had on the floor, put it on
Hmm.
and sit back on the couch and
yeah,
listen and groove to
hmm
every
And groove.
track. And
yeah,
you don't have that from
And that's
midnight.
the bottom line
Yeah.
is making every track special. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from Midnight Star to Earth, Wind, and Fire to Tower of Power, you name it. They put
oh
out
yeah,
concept albums that you could sit through and listen and groove and vibe on every track. And it's sorely missing, but
Hmm.
no need to veer.
yeah.
The
Well,
teddy bear.
yeah. Well, even you mentioned Earth, Wind, and Fire. Not only the music, but we wanted to see the album cover
Yeah.
or the Ohio players.
Yes.
You wanted
Yes.
to, you wanted to read the credits. You wanted to know what Earth, Wind, and Fire had. Even more of a mystical type thing. So you wanted what they're thinking about. The pyramids and
Yeah.
everything. Then you want to see it live, and then they're gonna drop the pyramid live. Or Parliament Funkadelic with the
Yeah.
mothership.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what's missing. That
Yeah.
Yeah, what
that
people don't understand
fire.
too is in order to have a decent single, well, the good thing about a single is whether you're a new artist or a classic artist, is that you have now the ability to make this one song and put everything into it and try to get yourself either reestablished or start from scratch to break through. And then you put two and three singles together and then you package your album based upon that. But to do one great song, a lot of people say, well, I wrote this song, I'm going to put it out, but they have nothing to compare it to. So when you
Right.
do an album, even an album, if it's 8 songs on there, you want to have 40 or 50 to, with Michael Jackson and Quincy, you want to have 200 songs to go through to pick those 10. Now, to pick that single, you want to have 20 or 30 different ideas to say, this is the one. This is like me and Vincent have stuff stacked. It's like, okay, what's we got this one now. What's the next one? Out of these, and do we need to? Is it already written? Is it already in the catalog? I Want to Be Rich uh, was in our catalog of unfinished songs. We were able to pull that. Casanova was a concept that was sitting there waiting to find the right audience, the right group, the right beat, the right style. So some things have to marinate. But yeah, don't just make one song and then put that out. You want to compare it to not only your best stuff, but to what else is out there and who's doing what. And not in a way of like, oh, mine's going to be better than yours or this is better than that, but in a way that this is relevant. This is the timing. so many things are timing.
Right.
Something that was great in the 70s may not be great, in 71 or 72 or today for that matter. But a great song can always strike a chord, in any time frame, done in a different way that matches the production or the right artist that brings it to life. There's so many things that are just magical that we have control to try to tap into, but not control to control.
Right. Well, both of you brothers are definitely magical. And family, the new hit single Six Pack is available as we speak on iTunes. And if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can always head over to Amazon.com. And to get all the latest updates, be sure to visit Vincent and Reggie at their official website, Calloway Official or Official Calloway. But seek out, reach out, get some therapeutic music to ease your mind. To ease your mind. I wanted to ask you both, man, and I'm glad that I have that opportunity and truly feel blessed to have you both on the show. I wanted to ask you, do you still feel that same type of love when you go out and perform live? Or do you feel more comfortable now just working behind the scenes as far as the creating process? Because I remember a time I've seen Midnight Star perform live several times. And I must say, Vincent, you were wild, brother, and I loved it. You had that. You were into it, man. You were moving and grooving. It was something special to see that type of energy and live performance and put into something that it meant so much to so many people who love your music. So do you right now at this time in the game, do you feel more comfortable working behind the scenes, or do you still have that kind of itch or that being re-innovated,
Well,
vigor to go out and perform live?
yeah, it's bottled up. We're always looking. I mean, we started off performing. I think before. I know for me personally, before even thinking about writing music, it was always about the performance. We played in numerous local bands back home in Cincinnati, and it was just always about the being for one being a musician or vocalist or whatever, and then getting a chance to perform. I would say for me, one thing really struck me in Cincinnati at the Cincinnati Jazz Festival that happened, and this was in probably the early '70s. For people who may not know what the '70s is, it goes back. Everybody's like 2000s now, but things was happening in the '70s.
Right.
And but what they did was, they would have the evening, the main show, concert, but they wanted to do experiment and see if they can bring people out during the day. But they would have what they call a battle of the bands, and it was held at the Cincinnati Convention Center. So it was just a ton of groups. You can sign up and you get your uh, place to perform, and whoever won this contest had a chance to open up for this jazz festival sampler, which was you know Stevie Wonder and BB King. Was they would volunteer to be a part of this, so you can open up for Stevie Wonder or BB King. So my group, at the time, TNT Powerhouse, we won we won their contest, and I had a chance to open up for Stevie Wonder and BB King at the Riverfront Stadium, in Cincinnati, Ohio. And
Cincinnati. Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I think this is what I want to do. So I think it's always been, for me, about the performance, but to be able to perform, because first we had to learn everybody else's songs in order to, do shows, whether you're doing proms, little nightclub gigs or whatever. You need to play something that people knew. And then to get to a point to where you can so-called have your own hit records, so you can be legit, and then to one day go back to the jazz festival to perform as Midnight Star with our own hits with Freakazoid and No Parking and Electricity and Slow Jam, and um, I think it's always been a big part of it. And then of course now you got smaller venues. I can't do some of the things I would want to do on stage there because of the spacing. Although we did do a show, we did do a show at in Louisville, Kentucky. Revolved around the Kentucky Derby. It was a big gala, so we had a big stage. I said, "Oh man, I got to do my trick now for Freakazoid." So I was able to pull it off. I had
man.
flashbacks. But I'll say this real quick. We actually got signed off of our high energy performance as Midnight Star. When I got with the group, we wound up. Our mom gave up her home in Cincinnati to the band. So we had 9 band members and 3 road crew living in one house. She moved out into an apartment,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I don't know how many people would do that. But 7 o'clock in the morning, we're up. I took, I was doing martial arts, already. So I would take the band out, through the neighborhood. We'll run 3 miles, come back, do calisthenics. I'm walking on the stomach, working on the breathing, and we're doing stretches. And then we have breakfast. Then we do choreography rehearsal, horn section rehearsal, choreography, rhythm section choreography, then full band rehearsals, and we're writing all day. So I think the high energy is something that we've kind of strive ourselves to do, and it worked came off in our shows and live performances.
Well, it definitely resonates with this new hit single. And again, family, be sure to go get it. It is available as we speak. Both of you, do you have any upcoming dates as far as live performances are concerned? Because personally, man, I'm waiting for you to come down to Houston, Texas and do your thing.
we will take that as an invitation, Teddy Bear.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Vincent was saying that we had great concert at the Kentucky Derby event here in LA. We do as special places that we perform, including vibrato. But we're looking to come to your town, and that means all of our friends and fans around the world and around the country. To get back to your question, is like as what we do is as songwriters, it's a circular circle of events from performing and recording. So we perform to record, and we record to perform. So we have new music that inspires. That at one time when you realize, you performing, like as Vincent said, we perform in all the little small clubs in Indianapolis and Louisville, Kentucky, and it might be 10 people one night, might be one person, might be 100, but when you hit that hit single, and now you perform your own music, and the line is around the building, and you see that look in their eyes when they're singing your lyrics in front of you, you to see 10,000 people singing lyrics that you helped to write songs to you. That's a powerful feeling. I mean, we looked down the building outside the dressing room window and saw the line and said, "Man, they're coming to see us. And you guys keep coming to see us. We keep writing, keep bringing new stuff in, and keep reliving, those memories that are part of the soundtrack of your life."
Absolutely. I've always taken the song "I Want to Be Rich," and I looked at it not from a monetary standpoint. I looked at it from an overall mental standpoint, that you want to be rich mentally, healthy, and spiritually at the same way. Because you can't take the money with you, but as long as you can't take the money with you, but you can always remain healthy and fit. And I think a lot of times, and I can speak for myself, when I first started out, I was like, I'm get up and get it mode, hustle. I want to reach a particular status in my life. Then when you feel like you've reached that status and you kind of sit back and it's like, you know what, let me just chill. You don't have that same drive anymore because you feel like you've made it. So I'll be the first one to admit I'm guilty of that. And I know a lot of people have gone through that. But, anything that you have the opportunity and you're still above ground, you can do what you want to do. And I want to thank both of you so much for bringing so much love and so much transparency to music, because I know we're in a different ball game right now musically. And I wanted to ask both of you, if you had to sum up Calloway's legacy, how would you sum it up?
Ooh, that's a beautiful question. So we were doing a great show yesterday and interview with the incredible Tavis Smiley, and we were going through all the songs. Tavis wanted to get through all the hits, and me and Vincent were sitting there, and we were like, "Wow, that one, we did that." I mean, we're as excited as the fans out there because we didn't even get to all. We didn't get to Curious. We didn't get to Body Talk. We didn't get to Meet in the Ladies' Room. All these songs people, didn't know that we were a part of. But so part of that legacy is just, trying to create music that stays around forever, and that, it doesn't have to always be our face out front. When we're producing Gladys Knight, we're not trying to be Calif and Gladys Knight. We like to do that though. But when we hit Pendergrass, we're imagining Teddy, like, even in the wheelchair. What are you going to do next? It's a joy. So we write joy. So songwriting, telling messages, leaving messages that to stick around for forever, telling stories, memorable stories. People still want to know what happened in the ladies' room. Why are they fighting? part reality and part fiction. That's what creativity is all about. But also giving back. We've always we came up doing talent shows, and then a big part of our life has been putting on shows, allowing the youth to perform and develop themselves, and speaking engagements, and giving them speaking out for advocating for music in the music industry. Trying to make sure that the artists can retain their rights, and which means their copyrights and their image. So proud and blessed to be a part of a company, Sound Royalties, with CEO Alex Heike. We provide royalty advances for those that need to get money today from their future earnings without selling any of their rights. So that kind of advocacy that protects an artist but allows them to invest in themselves. A lot of part of us putting out Six Pack was the fact that, hey, we can the rest of the world take it to the next level. Also, picking, Six Pack is kind of that whole thing put together early morning on the grind, but yet at the same time, like you said, Teddy Bear, we've had some reps, and so it's cycler. We're back now, but also looking at organizations like HER2 Breast Cancer Foundation. We're a great advocate for that, for pre-exams, not just cancer, which cancer is one you want to catch early. But you guys might think my glasses are kind of cool, but I'm nursing, recovering from a little eye procedure that you don't even think about things like that. You're like, wow, you're going to have to work on my eye? What's next? So try to catch your things early. That statement of, God, if he only had been here 3 months ago or 2 weeks ago, we lost a cousin to prostate cancer because he didn't get checked out until the time that was bad.
Right.
So just trying to be like that positive force that's fun, but yet educational, that's physical, that's accountable, and that's looking at every aspect. How can we touch the world? We want to touch the world and continue to touch the world.
Well, health is wealth, my brother. And Vincent, I want to pay you the ultimate compliment, man. I'm going to tell you something. Your artwork is fantastic, man. And I applaud you for showing a completely different creative side of Vincent Calloway. Everybody knows you for your music, but your artwork, man, is wonderful. And I wanted to ask you, when did you start really getting into that? And do you find when you're creating art, do you find it very therapeutic?
Oh, well, it's like meditation. Well, I started it as a young kid with Reggie, oldest brother Greg. When we were kids, we'd sit around the kitchen table while mom was fixing breakfast or dinner, and we're just sketching, and I just kept playing with it, and I've always used it as a tool. I never had any formal training, but I just something I was passionate about. So later I would use it as a tool to maybe try to design, my costume for stage or my
Right.
stage setup. And so it was always a tool. When I was a kid, I started off writing left-handed, although I did certain things right-handed. And then one of my elementary teachers said, I need the class to keep a journal, and I injured my left hand, so I started writing right-handed. And later on, I started discovering all the stuff I could do right-handed. So now I've been writing and drawing, both hands. A lot of I'll say my Asian style art I used with the brush. A lot of that I'll do right-handed. A lot of my portrait things you may see I do left-handed. Although I would use my right hand. So instead of you know doing something awkward, trying to reach across like this, I just use my right hand because I've developed my right hand. I always said I could be a surgeon, because the that
We kind of lost him for a second.
Yeah, we lost Vincent
But thanks
for
to Teddy Bear for noticing that, because the key to it is what Vincent was saying is he actually works at it.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount that's a gift, heredity. Our father was a good decent artist, but never really worked at it like that. And then our grandfather would his sketching was so amazing that he would freehand sketch the drafts for the builders as they were building their buildings and homes. He would do it freehand for them, and but you had to put in the work. You get the gift. God gives us all many, many, many gifts. So you have to put in the work. Vincent's sketching when he's at a restaurant. He's passing out napkins of fine art. If you're still there, Vincent, we lost you. So
We lost you, brother, but you
oh,
here. We got you.
am
We
I am
got
I
you. Just come on
am,
in.
am I back on?
No, not quite.
Oh,
There
okay.
we are. Oh, brother,
Okay.
you in a safe
Yeah.
space, my man.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
You in a
So
safe space.
um, so I would say the things that you may see on my Instagram that I post, a lot of those I may knock out in 2 or 3 5 minutes. Some I may say, yeah, it was a 5 minute quick sketch. I have thousands of really cool art that I've done on napkins,
Okay.
which I found that using I say the Asian brush, the Chinese brush, you can see Japanese brush that they use for calligraphy. I found that it absorbs, the napkins absorb the ink like rice paper.
Okay.
And then I found out that I could, use the charcoal pencil on it, although it's a little more delicate because depending on what direction you go to, you can tear the paper because it's so delicate. But I've been getting commissions to do serious portraits now. I did Johnny Britt's new CD cover,
Okay.
project called uh, in Paris, the Paris project that he did. Uh, so it's just been a passion of mine and something I've always wanted to be able to do. Good portraits. I started off drawing eyes. I did reach a point to where I was frustrated. I said, "Man, I'm not getting any better." I said, "Well, God, you're not studying. You've never studied. Have any formal training." So once I, took that monkey off my back and beat myself up, feeling like I have to do something at a certain time or be a certain way, I started getting better. I have a massive, library of books, that have a lot of great information. I say I studied with Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and Raphael and Picasso and Vincent Van Gogh, because there's so much information out there.
Right.
It's like if you listen to a Miles Davis, a Freddie Hubbard, a John Coltrane, a Stevie Wonder, you know, it's what Michael Jackson and Prince, they checked out James Brown. If you want to learn how to dance, who you going to watch?
Yeah.
Fred Astaire, James Brown, same thing with art. But I think the thread, I think, too, is also the martial arts, um, finding that thread that ties them all together. I used to separate it. Well, I'm a musician here, then I'm an artist here, then I'm a martial artist over here, and I run track over here. But in reality, it's all under the creative arts,
Right.
and I learned that through studying martial arts, and now I don't beat myself up with thinking I have to be this person over here, this person over there. So
On
my
one
goal,
place.
yeah, my goal is to bring it all together, and I think
Right.
I'm kind of getting closer to a place now where I'm able to really put time into my art, put time into my music, songwriting, practicing my instruments, and which is a challenge. As you come home, I get up in the morning, I do my own workouts, I train my students, then I come back, or I may have my little coffee shop stop where I work on some art for a minute. And I come home, then I pick up my flugelhorn, then I pick up my harmonica that I'm studying now, and my cello and my trombone or whatever, and just just keep going. And then Reggie
Yeah.
just calls me, okay, we got this interview here, we got to go in the studio, we got to do this. So he keeps me focused and tapped into stuff that uh, is so easy to get pulled away from.
Yeah. Very easy. I mean, Reggie, and I also want to give you so much respect and kudos that you have earned, man. And I want to say that you have done so much behind the scenes because you understand that a lot of these upcoming artists that want to be quote unquote stars and they get signed to these major labels and they become so fascinated with the idea of being a celebrity and being a star and putting music out and performing, but they don't understand the business side of this industry. And we have seen so many artists that don't understand the other side of the music and as far as business aspect that have lost millions of dollars because they don't understand as far as having and controlling and owning their music while the labels own their music. And you see major artists today, they have sold their entire catalogs
Yes,
for
yes.
financial because they didn't truly understand how important it was to own their masters. And you seeing it being played out in full displays. I want to go back to this. I'm say what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna feel how I feel. Just like when
Mm,
you had groups like 112, when they got signed to Sean Combs' label, Bad Boys, gave them X amount of dollars is more money that they've ever seen before in their life. You grew up in a poor environment. Most people have never seen $75,000 before in their life. They get that money and put you out on the stage, dress you up to perform, and don't understand that number one, when you go in that recording studio create music, you have to pay that money back because the studio and the record label is nothing more than a bank, and
mm.
you gotta pay that money back. Then you come back home broke and busted and trying to understand. Wait a minute, we performed all these shows, sold out concerts, and we don't have anything. And that's why I want to applaud you, Reggie, because you have done everything behind the scenes to educate people on this is what you need to do to protect yourself as an artist. And I wanted to ask you, what does that mean to you knowing that you are providing something that's so imperative for a lot of these young and upcoming artists?
Oh man, it is a sense of pride. And, we were very fortunate, to have our mother Gloria Larson, whose uh, heavenly birthday was August the 11th. She was an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, and taught us about business, put us in business situations. She built her own flower shop, Larson's Flower Barn, and put in an ice cream parlor in the back so that her young sons would have something to do and also learn about business. So that gave us that sense of ownership and not just working for someone. I've never had a job or worked for anyone in my life. It was always entrepreneurial, whether I was selling jet magazines in the projects or whether I was selling newspapers on the corner. I was the boss of myself, my time.
Right.
So I could still play football and basketball and do all the sports and play, then begin to play music and let that take over. So, in music, that first show, making $15 playing for a high school sorority, I'm like, this is the life. But the next day we're in Dayton, Ohio, man. Those shotgun bars, and there's two guys sitting at the bar, and we're playing to 3 a.m. with just that audience. So it's like, okay, what's the business sense in this? What's working? What's not working? What are we doing? the manager says, "Don't worry, guys, I'll get you all White Castles." So at that point, you got to make a decision. Are you ready for the ups and downs of this business? And a lot of times, when you only want to be up, then you
Right.
make decisions. You know, you sign the first contract that comes into your hands. You know, you don't have any knowledge of it. We're also blessed to have Dick Griffey, because he taught us a lot about the business, even though he was had to follow the record company model and the publishing model of his time. He was preaching ownership, and like, you know, you're gonna, excuse my sinuses are getting crazy over here. You're gonna have to give this here up or take this, but this is the reason why. So when you understand the reason why, then you know that, hey, these hit records are not just you know, out of the blue. It just happened organically. No, there was advertising, there was marketing, there was money being paid, there was concerts, there was tour support, there was costumes, there was hair, there was makeup, there was the videography. So all these costs are ringing up. So how do you deal with those costs? You know, you want to be from a power position, an owner position, not just you're not employed by the record company. You know, you are employing them to make your music go to the higher sites. Once you realize that, then you can Taylor Swift it out and do your own thing to maintain that. But in the beginning, it's really, really hard. You know, if sound royalties had been around 20, 30 years ago, there would be a lot more people that would still own their intellectual property.
Right.
And that's how I really got into the business of starting this whole industry of how do you fund artists so they can do their own thing. Because I myself was like, okay, I'm thinking about moving to Los Angeles. How do I raise money for this? Our record deal is over there. How do we promote new music? You know, how do we do these things? How do you just pay your rent when you're waiting on, even if you got royalties, you're waiting on the check. So how do you pay the rent while that check is still taking 3 months, 6 months to come? And that's how I got into the side of creating ways for artists to make money without losing their the property, total property. You know, then that
Right.
royalties. Alice's vision was even more special. Of, hey, we're not going to buy, we're not going to sell. We're just going to advance against the income source and give these artists a really fair shake. And then, you know, here we are 10, 12 years later with over 15 different countries, over 150, 170 different income sources monetizing. So you have many ways to get financial support. You can reach out to me, Reggie at soundroyalties.com, Reggie at soundroyalties.com, and all your artists out there. I'm going to tell you more when we have a private one-on-one. But yeah, that's, to be an artist and to assist artists. Wow, that's a powerful feeling.
And you've done a trend man. Like I said, knowing so much about your background, and I'm like, okay. I said, you're one of the few brothers that have taken the opportunity to educate a lot of these artists and what they need to know as far as on the business side of this industry, man. And so I'm so completely impressed with you're doing. I love and respect both of you. I wish I could turn back the hands of time and just go to a record store and pick up an album, but I know we're in a different place and space. But they do have record stores still outside the United States, as far as Japan, Australia, Germany. It's amazing. England. It is amazing to me that they have record stores out there, and they go to the stores in a multitude and buying these albums. And I do yearn. My son teases me all the time, Dad, you're stuck in the past. You're stuck back in the 70s. I said, I'm cool. I'm cool with that. That's where I'm from. That's what I appreciate. That's where real music was really bringing something to the table, instead of us we're being lost in a lot of this microwavable synthetic music. But that's okay. No need to fear. The teddy bear is here to bring real music back to the news. And I'm going to tell you, when you bring out your next single, I don't care if it's halfway done, like Mom's chocolate chip cookies, they somewhat cool in the oven, not really fully ready to be dished out. Send it to me, man, because I will definitely play it and debut it on the show each and every time. This is your home away from home. So whatever you need, please do not hesitate to let me know. I love you and I appreciate both of you, man.
Thank you, Teddy Bear.
We appreciate you.
And your entire audience out there. We just love it. And yeah. Our goal is to from this point on is to release new music on a much more often basis. And we call it, I don't even want to say it because somebody might take it, but six pack is not only just this concept, rather than albums, we're going to be releasing six packs. So that means 6 songs per album to make it go faster and keep the costs in perspective, and to get back to that every song has a relevant place being a hit or hitting the mule between the eyes with a 2x4 to get the attention.
I love it. Now I gotta ask: is any of this, as far as the album or upcoming more music, is it ever going to be put on vinyl?
Oh man,
you're gonna love this, Teddy Bear. So one of our first 45s as our group Sunchild, with myself and Vincent and our brother Greg and 2 other guys, Johnny, Pete, and maybe Daryl was in sometimes. But that record we made, sort of like my first year of college, as a 45 side B-side on the vinyl, and here we are some many years later. We talked about Europe. There's a couple of companies in Europe that want to re-release that product on vinyl, and so a lot of our songs are being released on vinyl and around the world. So it's really exciting. Just different mediums, different ways to take in the music. But that is a special time.
Man, oh man. I'm gonna throw a little right hand jab in a play for all love mood to Tavis Smiley. Tavis, my man, my brother. Stick to politics. You can't groove with the music, my man.
We learned some stuff about Tavis. That was really cool. He was a choir director for his choir. He played the instrument. He said if he could only sing, if he could sing, it would be a rap.
You said you couldn't tell him nothing.
He might not groove that good, but he's a lover. He's a fan. He's a
right.
Fan. So that's the good part. Everybody's not supposed to have the same. If everybody had the same desires and the same talents, we'd have a monolithic world. So,
oh boy,
everybody do what you do. We need everybody. But yes, indeed, and find out what we do best, and do that.
Right.
Don't be afraid to be a Renaissance person and enjoy everything.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody has their own niche. We have our own space. And I'm definitely for it. I have my space. My space is being behind the microphone, where I can control it and contribute to magic, and let everybody know that let everyone know that real music still is alive, well, and it still survives no matter what the stations are playing right now. And again, family, be sure to get the new single again, 6 pack, available on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon if you're feeling more adventurous, and the new video, which is outstanding. The 6 pack video is available. Go check it out on YouTube. Matter of fact, stop by on Instagram at official Callaways, and you can see the video. I mean, the video is incredible, and find out all the upcoming dates, live dates, and also make sure that you get all the pertinent information so you know what's going on. Hey, that's what freedom of speech, that's what freedom of knowledge is about. To know is to know. And again, brothers, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having you back on the show real soon. And again, both of you are cordially invited to come down to Houston, Texas, man, and do some performing. Can't wait to see what Vincent gonna pull out of his hat and do some stuff.
Oh man, I'll be looking forward to it. Matter of fact, I love the challenge because I'm getting ready now.
Teddy Bear, when folks come by Instagram and or YouTube, if you want to contribute on TikTok, do your own exercise video to the music of 6 pack, or promote what you're doing about health and wellness, whether it's vitamins or vitamin water or anything that's in this package of mental, spiritual, physical, social, emotional, and make your thing, put your stamp on it. We would love to have you collaborate and use the music to continue to promote this movement, because it is a movement that we take better care and love ourselves, have private dates with ourselves, and take that time out to know that, hey, we're here for a purpose, so let's make it as meaningful and as long as we can.
Absolutely. I say, you got to step back and Stuck back from the ribs a little bit and the hamburger. kind of chill a little bit. I get it. So it's written, so it shall be done. Brothers, be safe out there. Looking forward to hearing some new music. EP, Lord have mercy. And if you put anything on vinyl, let me know, because I want one. I want an autographed copy.
Right.
I want an autographed copy.
Thank everybody out there. This is incredible.
It's so exciting.
All right. Thank you, Reggie. God bless you, Vincent. Have a wonderful day, man. Keep it soulful.
Thank you.
All right. All right. The one and only Callaways, Vincent and Reggie Calloway, joining us today. And remember, family, the new hit single, yes, Lord, 6-pack, available as we speak on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. And if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can always head over to Amazon.com and also catch up with the Callaways, an official Callaway, actually on Instagram, Facebook, just as well as TikTok. They are there. It has been a pleasure. And I also want to send a special shout out and love to Mika for joining us on Wednesday. Her new hit single, Answers, is available as we speak, and catch up with her, of course, on a the award-winning Broadway show, Hamilton, where she just kills it. She is incredible, exceptionally incredible. And also on Power Book 3, The Rise of Canaan. Check her out. She is definitely a very special talent. And also I want to thank also Najee for joining us. He has a new album out, new single out. Be sure to catch up with him, get all his upcoming tour dates. He is definitely killing it. But without you, there's no teddy bear. Mr. Reddit extraordinaire. Lord have mercy on a fantastic Friday. I want everybody to take care of themselves. Have a beautiful weekend. And as always, keep it soulful here on Traxx Podcast. Oh, my faux pas, forgot something. Also, for the many listeners that have tuned in and you didn't have an opportunity to see the interview in its entirety, no need to fear, we got you covered. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's at Traxx Podcast. If you want to hear the audio version, you can always catch up with us on our iHeartRadio. That's at Traxx Podcast, as well as Spotify, Apple. We are there. Also on Deezer. You can catch up with us on Instagram. That's at Instagram.com/Traxx Radio. The same handle for TikTok, and just as well as Twitter. We are there. Without you, there is no teddy bear, but I'm here to bring it to you. We want our music shaken, but never stirred. Yes, we do. And as and always, once again, keep it soulful here on Traxx Radio. God bless and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Lord have mercy.